Nearly a month after his passing, a cause of death has now been released for Atlanta rapper Rich Homie Quan.
Medical examiners say he died from an accidental overdose. They found 4 substances, including fentanyl and codeine, in his system.
I never really prepared anything to say to my brother in a casket, so I'm just gonna go.
Y'all gave us an icon. Y'all gave us a legend. We all on borrowed time. So the things that he accomplished while he was here, we want to let y'all know that we're going to continue on his legacy.
Rich Homie Quan's cause of death has been revealed nearly 2 months after the Atlanta rapper's death. Quan, who collaborated with Young Thug as Rich Gang, died at the age of 34 on September 5th this year. On Tuesday, October 1st, the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office released its autopsy report, which listed Quan's cause of death as an accidental drug overdose. Per the report, several drugs were found in his system, including fentanyl, alprazolam, codeine, promethazine, and THC. The report also indicated that the late rapper showed no signs of trauma. His brother told police that he thought Quan was asleep on the floor by the kitchen before he picked up the rapper and put him on the couch, saying it was very unusual to see food still in his mouth. Later that morning, police were called by a woman who noticed that Quan's body was cold and he was not breathing. Quan was one of the biggest names in hip-hop in the mid-2010s. He gained mainstream fame through the trap singles Flex and Type of Way, which became such a success that several other rappers, including Jeezy and Meek Mill, jumped on the remix. The rapper also appeared on a YG track with Jeezy and released the London on the track-produced song Lifestyle through his Rich Gang rap collective that included Young Thug and Birdman. He followed up with Flex, a song produced by DJ Spins and Nitty Beats. It became his highest charting solo single at number 26 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. He was also featured on Lil Dicky's viral Save Dat Money. In 2018, Quan debuted his first and only studio album, Rich as in Spirit, which mostly went without any features except for Think About It, a single with Rick Ross. After news of his death broke, tributes poured in from across the music industry. On Instagram, Migos rapper Quavo shared a photo of himself alongside former bandmate Takeoff, who died in 2022, Young Thug, Rich Homie Quan, and Offset. He captioned the image, "May God be with us, never saw this being a part of our journey." 2 Chainz also posted an Instagram tribute, writing, "Damn, lil brother, we just spoke about shooting a video. Special prayer for you and your family, and pray for any and everybody that's dealing with something. My condolences, bro." Megan Thee Stallion shared a picture of Quan, which she captioned, "Rip to one of the best." Corey Lamar, the Type of Way artist's father and manager, has since revealed they were eagerly putting together a rollout for an unreleased studio album. "We had just completed a 20 or 25 song project, and we were in the process of scheduling 2 video shoots off our project," Lamar told Atlanta news station WSB-TV in an exclusive interview. The grieving father also shared that Quan was scheduled to perform 2 shows the weekend of September 7th, 8th in Miami. His latest single, Ah Chi, dropped in July and had re-energized anticipation for the large-scale return of his melodic raps that he popularized more than a decade ago when he hit the hip-hop scene in 2012. The video for Authentic, featuring Clever and Matt Monaco, was released in April. Comments that once praised the visuals and music have since turned into messages remembering Quan as a legend. One fan wrote, "I was still waiting on the album after this banger, but R.I.P. Rich Homie Quan." Another supporter commented, "His talent never stopped progressing. His artistry never stopped evolving. I remember back in 2013, when I first started listening to him, I was always left amazed at his ability." On Sunday, September 8th, in an Instagram story post, Lamar shared a post of DJ Fresh on stage, commemorating the late rapper, whom he claimed was one of his closest friends. Over the video, he wrote, "Rest easy, son. Know that Pop's gone, keep handling the biz. You didn't have to worry in life, and you don't have to worry in death. I'll see you on the other side. I love you, kid." Revolt caught up with the lifestyle hitmaker this summer, where he spoke about the theme of his new album being anchored around elevation. The project was initially slated for an Independence Day release, though it is unclear what led to the delay. Music aside, Quan shared his aspirations for pursuing fashion and film and penning his first book. Speaking of the legacy he hoped to leave behind, he said he wanted to be remembered as an original. "Remember me as a hard kid from Atlanta with a dream, who believed in himself and bettered himself, and won," he said, "rich as in spirit." This was the name of Rich Homie Quan's only official studio album, but it was more than just a name. It was an ethos, a philosophy, and a defining mantra for the Atlanta rapper who passed away at only 34 years old. Everyone who touches Earth lives, but Rich Homie Quan felt so alive. The bounce in his step was contagious. It shone through the camera every time he was in front of one. You could feel his brain hyping himself up every time he rapped, arms swinging in and out, the stink face with the drawn lower lip when he would rap right at Young Thug, the camera, or the crowd. With every shoulder dip, he hit right on the beat. It was as if he could telepathically transfer his positive energy to the listener's brain. To come from where he came from, face the odds he faced, see the things he's seen, and still come out with this dogmatically positive spirit made him as rich as any person could be. Most will probably remember Quan for his energetic chart-topping hits, Type of Way and Flex. Type of Way met the 2013 moment with such clarity. This was early in Obama's second term when his healthcare plan was hitting some serious roadblocks when George Zimmerman was acquitted, and when American supermagnates like Bezos and Zuckerberg consolidated power at the expense of the everyman. In other words, it turned the hopefulness of that first Obama term into the resigned realization that things are rigged, the cards are stacked, and the world is still getting worse, even though there was a seemingly well-intentioned and relatable guy helming the country. Type of Way felt like it could wipe away all of that S. After all, it is about doing what you do. This is about getting to the paper, no matter what excuses or roadblocks exist. To use modern parlance, it's about locking in and not giving an F to someone who feels some type of way about it. It's strongly individualistic, but still stirs up a communal spirit. From his very first interviews to some of his last, Quan always carried himself with a specific swagger and joy, while nonetheless reflecting on the darker times in the industry that followed his early run of success. But the Atlanta native was so much more than a joyful flexer. What may be forgotten among non-core fans was that he was also deeply reflective, a brilliant lyricist, a deft navigator of both conventional and unconventional flows with an instinctual and gift for melody and humor. And yes, he was always down to play into the memes, like when he escaped from a security guard on a speedboat in Miami, or the stretch of tapes named after the idea that he just refused to stop going in. As a musical stylist, he was hard to pin down. Of course, he was a southern melodic rapper who had one of the bluesiest voices this side of Boosie, but it wasn't just that. To paraphrase what he said in one of his early interviews, "It's not even rapping, it's not even singing. One of my boys calls it Quan mode. I'm always going into Quan mode." Quan mode was the molecular makeup of his spirit, and it was inflected in his every word and every note. When asked when he started rapping, Quan said that he'd been rhyming for as long as he'd been talking. It really showed how his raps felt, like they were forged deep in the belly of the spirit that inhabited him before he was even a sparkle in his father's eyes. Later in life, when Quan met another person who was able to embody ancient spiritual traditions through their oral gymnastics, it was a match made in heaven. DeQuante Devontae Lamar met Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug, in middle school. The chemistry was instantaneous. The history that follows should be written on scrolls displayed at the entrance to the Library of Congress, while Lifestyle plays on repeat on a halo screen. Directed by Birdman, Thug, and Quan, recorded some of the most forward-thinking, ceremonial, and dramatic yet playful and soft music of the 2010s, maybe ever. Their chemistry was undeniable as they went back and forth, rapping, singing, and harmonizing circles around each other on the Rich Gang. The Tour. Part 1 mixtape. It was a cultural shift. Time stood still as the two invested years in the studio, experimenting with new flows and unheard ways to rhyme to sculpt a new version of what trap music might become. The larger rap landscape started shaping itself in their image following the release of the mixtape, and as rap music went, pop music followed. The flows that RHQ and Thug were spontaneously inventing from this period wrapped themselves around your spinal stems and bled into your soul. Even though there are still haters who think Lifestyle is a mumble rap meme. Thug was a soaring purple maniac who saw in Technicolor. Quan brought a steadying, energetic ground game to the music. Later, Quan spoke about the pressure to stay in the studio all day and all night and how that spiraled him into a Molly addiction. But we'll get there. In the meantime, the two pushed each other musically as far as they could go, expanding their repertoires together. Individually, they were both incredible, two of the top rappers of that time, but together they were invincible. They defied human and mathematical logic with their interplay and the creative ways they could find to talk about any number of subjects. They were going 730 while their opponents were going 630, as Thug would clarify in the song. With Quan's music, the difference was always in the details. His improvisational nature meant he would shine in the in-between moments. His songs often sounded like conversations with himself, where he would ask a question and answer with an ad-lib, or when, like on Everything I Got, he ad-libs deep voice before dropping half an octave. Or on another fan favorite, Woke Up, when he instructs the engineer mid-verse, "Ooh, keep that," then Thug riffs on it before Quan turns it into a whole new flow, following up with Michael Jackson Lifestyle, "Ooh, beat that." He could flip from a sociologist to a big-time flexer and back all in the same breath. There are the bangers, there are the ballads, and every mood on the spectrum is represented in his work. At the end of the day, though, he was still as pure a rapper as anyone doing it. Quan didn't live to see the tour turn 10 years old, and that's beyond tragic. He and Thug didn't get to live their redemption story, and Thug is still behind bars without a guilty verdict on what's being called the longest criminal case in the history of the country. Besides Quan's music and its impact, which can be felt loud and clear by basically any young rapper coming up today, the most important thing here is that the world lost another kind of spirit to the scourge of the opioid epidemic. By all accounts, Quan was one of the nicest dudes in any room he walked into. His music was intimate. It was lived in. It flexed the full gamut of human emotion in ways that only the rarest of artists can access, and he was instrumental in the reshaping of modern music. And that's it from us today until next time. Thank you for watching.